Okay. Which one can we use? Which of the sites do you want us to use? Maybe you can use Power Platform User Group.
You can create a new list.
But you need to do it inside the site.
Nothing there inside the user group, nothing.
Okay. I can create it inside here then. Yeah, so this is a list. So since we don't have, normally if we have what's it called? If we have a template from Excel or a CSV file or even an existing SharePoint list, we can just easily use them from there. But since we don't have, so let's name this data source or Power Applet, or rather onboarding. HR onboarding. So as with SharePoint, if you allow this thing on, that means people will see it on the side like this, the side navigation. So usually when you're creating something, I don't want everybody to have easy access to it. You can just uncheck it. But since all of us are using it together, I'll just leave it open. But usually, since for this kind of document, say a HR thing, you wouldn't want to click that. You won't want to leave that clicked. Okay. All right. So what we need to do is basically, now we need the class participation here because I might not remember everything. So what we are trying to do now is to set up a data source for the app we are trying to build or the HR onboarding application. Remember, we have something already, but I want to actually start from scratch. And the question now is what kind of things, what kind of fields, what kind of columns will be common in the HR onboarding application. So first of all, employee name. So we'll go here to add the columns. So to add columns, now I need to explain some. I don't know if some of us are okay with SharePoint. If we know how to use SharePoint, that will be fine. But if we don't, there's a reason why I won't be using this person column. Person column is also very important. It's a person column that you can use to, if you have like what's it called again? The AD, that's the what was that thing called again? Something for address. That I know they've changed the name now. This is just really what SharePoint used to get all people in the organization, their name, their details, and all that. I've forgotten what it's actually called. So I would use this if I'm within the organization. I'm creating an app within an organization. That's basically what I'm going to use. But since we are not within an organization, basically just write the user test column for it. So if you come here, you can just write employee. So guys, just remind me the kind of things we will likely see. I might not remember all of them. So employee, and it's a single line of test. Yes, single line of test is safe. And that should be employee name. And then we'll go over to the next one. Let me say another test, and then this will be Manager.
Okay.
Did you mention anything?
I said employee's address.
The address might be there, might not be there, but then I want the key things actually, because
Is it an employee table we are trying to build?
huh?
We are trying to like populate an employee table, right?
No, not employee table, an onboarding data source.
Onboarding.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they are not yet employee yet, right? So this is just an onboarding. So if you are onboarding somebody, there are key questions you want to, maybe whether they've completed the training, whether the line manager have done some approval,
Okay.
all those kind of questions. They are not yet employee, but then they will still be referred as employee basically, since it's an internal document.
Okay.
So manager, then there's usually what they call the HR person that is responsible for you. I don't know how the name might be different, but then I'll just write HR here. Then I will now add HR manager. So there will be HR and there will be HR manager, because the person that is processing you is not the person that will approve you in the HR group, right? So I think there are a couple of them. Phone number, yes, or contacts. It's important. So in that regard, we use test because most time because it starts with 0. So let's say employee phone. Okay, which other one? Email. Thank you very much. That's like the actual, the most important thing here is actually the email. So for email, I think there's an email thing here. Hyperlink. Oh, it's not.
It's going to be text.
I'll use text then. Employee email. Any other one?
How about age?
Age, yeah, age. The age can actually, some companies actually request for age, so I can add that.
Yeah, most companies actually in Nigeria.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, important in Nigeria. Most companies outside Nigeria don't bother with your age. I say it's important you mentioned in Nigeria. Most companies outside Nigeria, they won't bother.
That's why I said Nigeria.
That's not important to note. What's okay now? There will be a choice question, and that choice question will be whether
will it be age or date of birth?
Date of birth, correct.
Okay.
Date of birth. DOB, yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, SharePoint list looks like creating a table in Dataverse actually.
So you see why I wanted us to start from this point. So most in Nigeria, most people actually use SharePoint. In fact, all my development I did in Nigeria was with SharePoint, because not a lot company would want to spend money on Dataverse and all that. So if it's better for your own good, if you're learning, it's better you start from SharePoint. Dataverse have so much things going on, so sometimes it might get confusing. So I noticed that when I was trying to introduce it, and it wasn't flowing. But as I'm using this one, the interaction and all of that makes it understandable. This is DOB, right?
Free?
No, it's not free. It's not free.
Because I've tried checking for SharePoint on my own environment.
No, you have to. I think you need license for Microsoft 365?
No, I'm able to log into Microsoft. So I can't remember. I created an account one time like that. It's been a while though. So that's what I've been using for my in my Power Apps. That's what I've been using in my environment. So now I'm
Okay.
trying to create a list on SharePoint, but I can't find this thing. I can't find SharePoint in my 365 ecosystem.
So what kind of what license are you using? Is it
I'm not
basic
using any
license or
license,
personal
so but
license?
I'm able to. I'm not using any license, but I'm able to log into 365 because of that
That's what I'm
account.
saying. Even inside 365, there are so many categories that does not include SharePoint.
That is what I'm saying. The one I'm on right now does not include SharePoint.
Oh, okay, good. So the one that I saw that includes SharePoint that I've used is a Business Basic. Things around $10 or so.
$10. Oh, not bad.
And it's not
Monthly?
bad. Yeah, it's monthly.
Not bad actually.
So here I wanted to ask whether the person has passed what's it called, safety or training. So it's some companies want you to do some kind of safety training when you come on board, right? So
Okay.
so I'll see safety. So I'll put two choices. Remember, this is somehow might be tricky. You can actually use choice to depict yes or no. You have yes or no there, but I'm trying to use choice to do the same thing. You understand? I cannot, because choice gives you the flexibility to use whatever kind of whatever kind of label you want to use, right? So that's the flexibility with choice. So here I can say done, for example, instead of yes, and I can say not done here.
So why would you recommend SharePoint for a beginner instead of Dataverse? Because I feel like now for someone who is learning, there's restrictions to SharePoint, to using SharePoint. I can't even find it in my package. So now that I can't use SharePoint, why should I not use Dataverse?
Now, first of all, let me answer that question. First of all, your location. If you're in Nigeria, do not avoid SharePoint, because anywhere you're going to get a job in Nigeria would most likely use SharePoint. Most Nigerian companies don't pay for Dataverse. So if you're outside Nigeria, then I'm sure you must have learned SharePoint and you must focus all your attention on Dataverse, because most companies outside Nigeria use Dataverse. Then there are some that also use SharePoint as well, or use combination of both. So, if you start from SharePoint, it's easy to learn Dataverse when you SharePoint, because I'm saying this from experience. I started from SharePoint. SharePoint is easy for you to iterate and run around. The only problem is maybe it's not being part of what's it called, Power Platform tools, right? That's the only problem. But in terms of easy to use, you can't compare how easy it is to use SharePoint with how easy it is to use Dataverse. Dataverse is easy if you understand it, but then there are so many things going on, and sometimes it gets, people might get overwhelmed if it's their first time seeing it. So, but if you have seen this, understand how they relate with even inside the application, you can actually. And one thing you also need to be aware of is that most of the interactions you do with your data source, SharePoint data source in Power Apps, change immediately you start using Dataverse. The thing is not the same. So the only thing is that within your mind, you understand the structure, you understand what is expected of you to do within this point. It's not left for you to find the equivalent within Dataverse. That's basically the thing.
So for someone who does not have a license, what can we do?
So if you don't have a
Or what can I
license, what I would suggest you do is start a trial. So the first Office 365, Microsoft 365 I did was a trial. What you need to do is just to put in your card details. If you put in your card details, they're just going to bill you $1 and they will return it. It's just to make sure that your account is billable, right? So it's 1 month. After that 1 month, you can decide to, pay the $10, or you can decide to, quit or cancel the subscription as you want. So it's always very key to understand
So
Okay,
what
go
does
ahead.
that 1 month? What does that 1 month free trial covers?
It covers everything you can think of within an enterprise grade subscription.
And I'll be
I
able
have
to
it.
use
I'm
right?
just working on it now. Maybe if I share my screen, I can show you. I was working on it. I paid, but then the thing didn't go through, and I started having issues. That's why I had to use Winger's phone to run it. But then maybe before I end the class, just remind me. I'll show you, how the whole thing
How to
is.
create one, right? And I'll be able to use SharePoint.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You'll be able to use SharePoint. My only problem is that now I was not able to use SharePoint. It was asking me some error is coming up, right? But then it's not my first time of trying to sign up. I've signed up before for the free trial, and I use SharePoint comfortably well. But then I want to restart again, and I'm having issues. So it's not something that is not possible. It's just maybe some technical issues that need to be checked. That's all.
So what if I don't want to pay for this thing? I don't want to continue the payment plan. I'm going to lose the environment, right?
Yeah, once you're not able to continue, you won't have anything to go back to. It's that simple.
Think about it well.
Is there any more thing that we need to add? I think there should be a lot of things that we need to add.
How about address? The request for address, or let's say location.
Where the person is staying?
They do. Most Nigerian companies do.
Okay, so for location, this we might use, but then it's overflogging the issue. Most times, for what you're asking for, nobody requires, on a pinpoint where you are staying, that kind of a thing. So what I can do is just write the state, maybe Lagos, that kind of a thing.
They just want to know if it's close to the office.
Yeah. So let me use that.
Are you using text?
Yeah, I'm using text. Yeah, because I don't want to write like what is it called? The entire address. Just give me the
So
state.
what if we use the location data type? What will happen?
No, nothing will happen, but the location, let me open it for you. The location data type is actually going to be well detailed. Look at it.
Can we see it?
Yeah, I can show you. See.
Okay, street address, postal code,
Yeah.
121. Yeah, I get.
So all of these things are things we need to start taking care of.
Right now.
So it's not like you won't be able to do it. So if you need, it's just very simple. This thing you're saying is that easy. But then what we are doing is not that complicated. So
the fact that I've even done this thing in something similar in Dataverse, so it's not looking good to me.
It's not looking good to you.
It's not looking new to me.
Okay, good. So location, and within this location, maybe Aja, Lagos, maybe Abuja, that kind of a thing can go in there. Any other things that I can add?
No, I can't think of any right now.
Okay. Do any other person have any other idea? I know that there are so many things we are missing.
What about role? The person's role.
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
And the pay.
No, pay is not discussed here. They make it very discreet.
Okay.
HR, HR and the pattern. Okay, dates of starting, that is important. Or how is that what it's called? What's the right word for a date of what again? Dates.
To be honest, I don't know.
Start dates.
Start dates.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called start date.
Start dates. That's good. So one thing that I'm doing now that is not good, I'll explain it to you now. and you will understand why. You see this space that I'm living here, I'm only doing it because of maybe experience. I know how to manage it. So if you're doing this thing for the first time, do not do this. It's an overlap from my end. I'm not supposed to show you. Why is because, okay, let me show you why. You see, if you click on this, okay, we don't have record on it. Let's go to list. I really want to open it so that we can see what's behind it. Because I think this is one of the major issues people have with SharePoint. So it's very good to point it out now instead of when they start using it and start having issues. Now look at, see HR Manager, there's space on it. So let me open it.
I have another question when you're done.
Yeah, I will just give me some time. Let me finish this. So we want to get the actual value of this column name. This is how you get it in SharePoint. You know how you have in Dataverse, you have label and you have the value for each. So this is how you find it here. You see how it is here.
Yeah.
Right. So the field name, actual field name is HR Manager. So in some cases, instead of HR Manager as you intend, you are going to see some, special characters due to space. Sometimes it happens. You understand? So to avoid that, you kind of entirely remove space. So this one now is not happening, but then sometimes it pops up. So the problem, why are you going to have problem, with this is because when you want to, reference that column, maybe in Power Apps or maybe in Power Automate, you are going to reference it as HR Manager, right? And then there's some special character in between just to depict the space there. And then that's not going to, it will break. And that's when you start having problems. So these are things to look out for, especially if you're using SharePoint. I think Dataverse don't have that issue because of how strict and detailed that Dataverse is. So let's go back. Any other thing, please?
So can I ask my question now?
Okay, go ahead.
So what if you have someone to create an account for you in their tenants? Will it work?
What do you mean by account for you? Like they can work. It's just like you. It's just like them introducing you as an employee in their company. That's basically what it is. If they can, what it means that you have access to all their files within their environment as well. So would they be able to do that for you just because you want to create a test account? It doesn't make sense. I know you really want this, but then you need to, look at all the ways that it can also actually affect the person that wants to give it to you.
Okay, thank you.
So I want to try something. We have 3 members in this group. I don't know who they are, but because of these 3 members, I'm going to use this person column so that we'll see the difference between the person column because it's very important and the regular test that I used. So let's call it person. Okay, so we would want to fill this. Is there any hello?
We can hear you. Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. Is there any person that wants to say any other thing? In terms of contributing to the headers that we will need here. I know we're still missing something.
Edison.
Yes.
It's something that I think your friend taught me one time. The first column you created was that title.
No, it's not. Title usually is the.
Is there
I
by
want to talk
default?
about it. Yeah, I want to talk about it. So
there's something that
usually,
you told me that time that I have to go and do some settings to change something like that.
Yeah. So I will explain that. It's just like, when you are dealing with SharePoint, that's why I had to show you guys the other one at the back end. And I'm coming back now to do this one now. So whenever you're working with SharePoint, this title is always, what's it called? it's automated, it usually pops up. So there has been, over the years, there has been so many changes. If you've been using SharePoint Tete, you must have dealt with this title. There were times that this title, you can't remove it. You have to struggle to take it out. Sometimes you have to rename it. But now they made it easy for you to remove, and it's easy for you to remove. But then if you don't remove it, it's going to appear everywhere your data source appear. So there's a way to check out some columns that you don't want, and that's the way we're going to use to remove it. So you go to any of the columns. You can go to this one. I go to column settings. I go to show and hide columns. Now, you see all the columns we created. So you can check out settings. If you don't want any other one to appear here, you can check that out as well. So now, which is some of the metadata that you see in what's it called? Dataverse. I think someone was saying that they use Dataverse. Those things that is automated in Dataverse that's already created for you to use in Dataverse. Whenever you create a record, all of those things will automatically be created. This is the equivalent in SharePoint. So SharePoint has an ID, it's automated. Any record that is created will, assume a position. So if somebody modifies this record, SharePoint will get the person's ID. So the person's ID will appear here. If somebody created the records, the person's will appear here. So sorry, this is time. Created is the time that is created. Why created by is the name who created it. Modified by is the name who modified it. Why modified is the time that it was modified. Now, why is this thing important? There are so many of them. There's attachment if you want to add files and a lot of those things down. But then, why are these things, these ones that we're looking now, because that's the one we'll be using very, very often. Why are they important? Imagine you have a record and maybe somebody kind of edited that record without your knowledge. That's an easy place to audit that record. So it's not as solid as Dataverse, because Dataverse is very, very solid in terms of security. It's not that solid, but then you'll be able to do some level of auditing with this to find out what's happened. That's why. So this is time. It was modified. And if it's created, it's time it's created, and then created by the name of the person. Now, some of these things we can also use, especially when you're working with SharePoint. Imagine you want to pull out from your app the time somebody signed a document in your app. If you want to automatically put it. So imagine that you want somebody to sign a document within your app, and you want the person to also put the time they signed. Now, as a developer, you don't ask the person to also provide the time. That's you giving the person extra work. You can just automatically generate the time, right? But then once the time, the form or whatever the interaction has been submitted back to SharePoint, it creates a record, and that record comes with details here, created by and created by when, or modified by when. You understand? So these things are important in terms of how you create and relate with your application as you build it. So, and we're going to see most of them. So for that reason, I would check some of them. We might not use all of them, but then eventually I will make sure that I will try to use some of them. So when I say apply, it's going to pop up in the SharePoint. So it's good that we are starting from SharePoint, because this is part of the things I was trying to explain the last time. It's okay that we do practical stuff, but it's also very important to understand why things are the way they are. Because if you don't understand, I will start doing practical stuff, it gets very confusing. So this is how your data source looks like in SharePoint. There are many things can come in here. We can group the data that is coming in here. There's a way you can group data, and you can total the data. There are some calculations you can do. So one of the best thing I have ever done with SharePoint, this SharePoint you are seeing, is it does magic. In fact, there are people that are still, even if you go to LinkedIn now, you still see some SharePoint developers. There are some job for SharePoint developers, because this is one of the earliest tools Microsoft had, one of the best tools, aside Excel, of course, in terms of data management. So Now, one of the best things I think I've done with SharePoint is an application I built a while back in Lagos. That should be around 2002, 2012, 2001 rather, 2001 or 2002, I'm not sure. So I was with this HMO and they wanted to build an application that will take in patients' record on the field. So they have doctors that go out to maybe companies that are working with them. And it's a very popular HMO in Nigeria. I just don't want to mention the name. So if they go out, they kind of take in details of these patients, basically workers, right? But they want to make sure that the health of their enrollees are good. Those guys are good. So they do a random check on them. So what kind of check can be done randomly without needing, heavy laboratory equipment and all of those things? It's simple. BMI, your height, your weight, your blood pressure, all of those things. But all of those things are not easy to capture. The only thing you can be able to do is, get the numbers. A doctor can actually sit down and get all those details without needing so much equipment. But how do you translate it to meaningful insights? And that's where SharePoint came in. So I sat down with those doctors and we implemented the formula of, medical formula of, okay, how do you get a BMI? How do you what's it called? Use somebody's height, weight to get a result of this and all of those details. And we implemented that within SharePoint. So what happened was that once somebody's record has been collected within an app and they now click send, it comes to SharePoint and all those records and the formula, calculates the outputs depending on what the result is, because the result usually it will be a number. Now the person will actually be, okay, you are maybe diabetic, you are obese, or maybe you are okay. And if your number is outside of the range and you're obese or you are pre-diabetic or what, then there's a next step to recommend you to go see your doctor. Now, the good side of why we did this was that usually what they were doing when I came in was that they were doing this thing in a paper form. So, and I asked them to, try this, and then they tried it. And the good thing is that the results was going out to those guys that we are checking instantly because it's basically cloud, right? It hits SharePoint. Power Automate picks it up, sends it via email to them. Email that they wrote or the doctors requested from them and imputed in the form. So everything just happened between 3 applications. That's how good SharePoint is. And you can also do the same thing with so many other data sources. But something that simple, right? It's easy to do with SharePoint than going as far as Dataverse. So it's not like SharePoint is bad to use, but if you want to build something that's, very simple, very, snappy, just want to do something quick, then go ahead with SharePoint. But now if you want to do an enterprise solution that, that will require so many things and, configurations and business processes, you can't do it with SharePoint. There's no other way except Dataverse. So that is that. Let's try to add records. So there are 2 ways to add records here. We can actually add, and then there will be, something by the side that we can add one by one, or we can add it like in Excel. So I usually do this because it's a little bit faster. So employee name, I can say John Doe. Manager is Mark. Oh, Mark Ben. So HR, remember HR is the person that's processing this John Doe. So we need the HR person's name. And that's where we have issues. We will likely have issues, right? But I would, find a way around this. But for now, let's go with this. Let's say the HR person's name is maybe Peace.
Sorry, Taiwo, can you mute yourself, please? Taiwo Yusuf.
And the HR manager's name. HR manager's name could be, let's say, Molly. Molly Adams. So one of the most boring things is this thing I'm doing is very boring because sometimes you don't have time to be doing all of this. So employee phone number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Employee email, this will be John Doe at gmail.com. Date of birth. So let's say this guy is from maybe 1990, May 15. Safety training. So you see how this choice responds, just like when you have maybe same choice that I explained I think last time in Dataverse. So this will have like a done, safety training done. Location, let's say Lagos. IT admin. Start date will be in the future. And it can be 26th. So this person column, I would explain it in a way for us to understand. See, people see what is happening. So immediately, since I'm creating records, all these things that are what's it called, the method that they are updating. This is Wenga's account. I'm basically using his account to do this. So that's why it's logging in as. So the first time I created it, this will populate. Anytime I modify it, this will populate. So even if another person modifies, the person's name will populate here. So if you see now, I created 3 minutes ago, but then modified a few seconds ago because I'm still editing on it. But the first time I created it, this was created, right? So all this other one is because I was clicking on them while I was creating, right? That's why you see those ones popping up. So, but then I'm trying to get something to work here. Yes. Now, you see everything that you're seeing now, these are people that are working in this organization. I know this is like a development account, so we're going to have people, but then these are actually people that we need. If we want to see the full capacity of, SharePoint and integration with other cloud platform tools like Power Automate and then with Power Apps, then this is a column we need to use. It's called people column or person column. Now, if I use, just as I use the employee name as a text here, I will not get the full effects, the full features of a person column. What do I mean by this person column? This person column now is not just tests. It's called I think a person. That's basically how the data type is, right? So it comes with different details with it. In Dataverse, you see it as a polymorphic data type because it has different things around it. Example, this person has a display name, they have an email, they have a work location, they have a line manager. All of those details are attached to it. So now you see that it's very rich information that you can easily get out from it. Say, for example, where you can use this person self-application for this. Say, for example, you want to assign the next task to this person's manager. How do you know this person's manager in a big organization? If you are using the test column, you won't know. Even if you know, you are going to type in a name, and that name might not be as exact. And then, automations and other referencing, what's it called, solutions around it might fail. So that's why something like this works. Because now, if I want to say, okay, Hugh Edmonds, I want to assign something to your manager to sign on your behalf, I can easily just, within Power Apps, mention this guy, pull in, what's it called, your profile, and then assign it to your manager. It's that simple. There are functions to easily do that. And then Microsoft SharePoint, Power Apps, and the rest already, will pick it up. So that's why it's important. So I need to maybe put in one more record, then we can go. See, if anybody have questions to ask while we're doing this, please ask. But I think I now will need to also add this person data type elsewhere. Let me see if I'll be able to change this guy to data type. Oh yeah, please, Taiwo, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah. My question is that, in fact, I never knew that this Power Platform is something that has to do with SharePoint. I've used SharePoint a couple of times. But what you are doing it now is what
You've not seen it before.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know that probably in my organization, some of these things would have been imputed by some people. So what at my own end, I just make sure I just make use of the data that has been imputed on it. Probably play around with those information.
Exactly. So it's not your responsibility. Let me explain what you're trying to say. It's not your responsibility to gather all of these records. Sometimes it might be because it might be the responsibility of the internal customer you are working with, the department, maybe HR. It's not your responsibility to gather employee details and impute it by yourself. If that's what you are doing, then it's wrong. So what I usually do is that I can set up the schema, all these headers and all of these things that I need, and I share the link and access to somebody in HR to just give me the record that I need. And once they give me that record, I don't have any more work to do than to just connect it to the app and I start building. So it's that easy. I think another person raised their hand. Denike.
So I wanted to ask if you could explain the person data type again, because I don't quite get it.
Oh, okay. Let me explain it from the points that Dataverse sees it from, and then I will come. So there's what you call polymorphism. It's like data types that they are unique. They don't have a certain way they are presented because of their features. So what are these features? If you come back to this Excel now, you see this guy. Where is that person? You see this person? This is a field that is being populated by what's it called again? I know they changed the name. I'm trying to remember the name they changed. This Azure address book that they use to get all the details of everybody within the organization. See what I did? Who is Hugh Edwards? It's because this is a development account. And these are the people within this organization that is set up by Mr. Boinga. Now, if I write any other name, you see, it will still pop out a lot of people. Anything I write, because these are people that it's sourcing within the organization. This is exactly how every organization, it will work within every organization. Now, this is the first layer. Second layer is that each person that you're seeing here is not just data. The data within this is too much. It has so many things attached to it, and we're going to see it. So how are we going to see it? If you want to see everything behind this guy, there's a profile function you can use to pull out the details within a user's profile. I think it's called user profile, the function in Power Apps. And it will show you the person's name, first and foremost, the person's UPN, that's their email address, the person's display name, the person's last name, the person's first name, the person's manager can be found, the person's office location. Some companies have different office locations. If that was set up when they are setting up their business structure, all of those things within Microsoft, they will have it appear. So because I've used it before, I've used it to filter data before. So there's this thing that I was working on, and we needed only the people in head office to see all the data, while people that are not in head office should see only the data from their own location. So how do you solve that kind of problem if you don't have the person's location attached to their profile? You see the problem? So when I was trying to build that solution, we didn't have that existing. So I had to push for them to add it within the people that are going to use it. Their location need to be added to their profile. So good thing is not like a lot of people, because they weren't using it before. It would have been too much problem if it's a solution that all the enterprise solution that everybody will be using. No, it's just a select group of people that will be using. They were not up to 20. I also had to sit with the admin, the IT admin, and then we were able to put it in. That's all. Now I have to go back and look at my code and be able to change it to be able to show the entire data to everybody that has head office in their profile. That is basically the managers, the developers, people that will interact with the data more from a global perspective. Then if you're now in your own location, say you're in Lagos, so that person is Abuja, you are not supposed to see the record from somebody in Abuja. You understand that kind of a thing? So there are other ways to achieve this thing, but due to what I was building, it's easier for me to build achieve it this way. And this was done in Dataverse, not even in SharePoint. But I'm using this as an explanation to you. A person column is polymorphic. It's more like a profile. When you talk about profile, there are details attached to it, and we're going to see that detail. I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, it's too much information. But when we start building, you see how easy or how useful this person data type is. Very, very useful, because without it, you will struggle with a lot of things. That's why I first set up this one, and then I'm setting up this one to just show us the difference, basically, because you wouldn't do this in a regular. If you do this, you are wasting your time. This is the best to do. And it's not like it's the best, that's the only option you have, because there are so many things you want to do while you are developing your app. Let me give you an example. You want to give access within your Canvas app to only people in HR. How do you do that? Dynamically, you want to say, oh, you are not going to sit down with those people to know their location before they open their app. So a lot of people are going to use your application, right? And you want them to use it on the go. Now, if I am from HR and I'm logging in to see sensitive document, I want only people within HR to see. In fact, I've actually worked on a project that within the HR team, they don't want the lower guys to see the document. So within the HR team, there's another hierarchy that you need to put some security details to exclude. This is the only way you can do it. So you want to also make sure that I'm an example, you want to make sure that only managers see some certain data, right? How do you do that? This is a person column. This person now, if this person is a manager, you will know. I think we don't have time, but I would want to go to Azure. You should have your Azure open, Mr. Benga, and maybe in the next class we can open it and see how these things are from Azure. When you look at it from Azure, then we can understand it properly. Because all
Sorry,
these things,
what do you want me to open?
I want to see, your Azure development account in Azure. If you're able to open it.
I don't know which one you want, because the one I have is Azure DevOps.
No, not Azure DevOps. That's let me see if there's an Azure development account, not DevOps. That would be
Can you share the link with me?
No, I'll share the link with you. It's something that I've actually worked on lately. So I'll share the link with you.
Okay.
I'll find it and share with you. So, but that would actually show us a different perspective of it. Okay, someone else is raising their hand. Taiwo. Taiwo, you have a question?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to add. So what I wanted to do wasn't possible because some data types can be exchanged, but not all data types can be exchanged. So this is test. I can't easily go from test. I can easily go from test to date to choice, but I can't easily go from test to person type, data type. So I'll have to do something different on top of this. So let me do that. So in this person now, I'm going to name it employee name. I'll just write employee this time. There's one other place we used that guy again. HR manager, that's good. So we need to change all of these guys.
If you have seen Guardian Angel, I'm sure you know this guy. He's chopping up at school.
Mr. Gbenga, you are disturbing us.
Employee manager. And then we'll have HR. HR personnel. I have to change it because if it's the same word with that one, two of them will clash. So I don't want any of that to happen. Now add the last one, which is HR manager. Oh yeah. There's another name there called HR manager. So let me just use another R on it so I can save it. I'll delete those ones later. So this is done. So whenever you want to delete a column, I think it's easy. Just come here to delete it. There are some other ways you can do it, but this is the easiest. Okay. So for all those ones that we deleted, they're empty. So how do we fill them? It's easy. We can just fill them with random name. Remember, this is an existing company, right? There are people in this company. You just need to. The other name, we'll call it John Doe. So let's see if there's any John in this company. Yes, John Pradeep. So who's John Pradeep's manager? Let's say Mark something. Yes, we have Mark Smith. So HR person is, let's say, Alexander Vickers. Then who is the manager? Manager will be, let me say Ben. Neil Benson. So we can do this for multiple columns, and then we can bring in a lot of people. Okay, for number, we can type anything for number. No. Test. Elon Musk. I don't want to be going too fast. I'll just say random dates here. So SharePoint also does this conditional formatting and color coding. So if you see a SharePoint report that is well prepared, it's very lovely with all these colors and all. Sure. So this person is working in finance. This guy is security officer. So let's give them all the same start dates. This person column, I don't think I need the person column. I think I use it for a test, so I'll remove it because I've added the other person column that I needed. I think this is enough. We'll have a complete data source. It's all the details we need. Maybe not all the details we need. So if we need some details, we might come back to add it, because I'm very certain there are some things we probably must have missed to add in terms of what HR will usually ask for. So once we start building the app, you will see they will pop out. So this is this. Well, there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys, so that for those guys that have not been using, are not for those guys that are not, very good with SharePoint, these are basic things you need to do. So for every column, you see how I was setting up the column, and there are some data types you need to pick. So once if you set up that column, it comes with this. Now that column has these parameters that you can, switch some things on and off. And I just want to show you what is possible within every column. So you can actually describe what the column is about after the name. This is the type you selected. I can actually change that type after you must have built. Why it's bad to do this is, in fact, it's important for you to delete the column entirely if you're no longer using it. Instead of you to come here to change the data type, just as we were trying to do before, is because sometimes there are some records already, values already in the record, right? If you change the data type and it does not match, it becomes a problem. So default value. For some things, you want a default value, right? So for example, it's a yes or no column, but you want it to start with no. So you can come here and input default no, right? Now you see the calculated column. The app I talked about for the medical outreach, right? We use majorly calculated column, because calculated column is more like formula. What's it called? What you call formula in Dataverse. It used to be calculated column as well, but they now kind of removed that. They have retired that particular one and are now using what they call formula. So this calculated column is just for you to put some SharePoint expression to calculate, do basic calculation, right? So if it's a calculated value that you want to appear here, this is what you do. Once you click it, it asks you to put in the default formula. That's what this is about. But if you don't want any default formula there, just leave it. Then let's go to more option. Under more option, you can determine, if you want to reduce the number of characters that is available for this field. Now, do you require that this column contains information? This is where you're enforcing data validation. Do you want the column to always have information? That means if somebody is filling the form and they did not, enter anything within that particular field, that means you will not allow them to proceed. That is where you turn it on. So this is also sometimes very confusing. You can do this here, and then you will not need to do it in the app, because the app is talking to the data source and knows what the data source requires. But sometimes it's also better you do some certain things in the app, so that you don't overburden the whole communication between, because this is SharePoint is not within the Power Platform, so it takes a lot of API calls as a data source to interact with what's it called, the interface, which is the Power Apps. Then with time we're going to talk about the limit. I think I mentioned it during the introduction. So when you talk about delegation, non-delegable functions and all of that, we'll talk about that. And I think briefly it's important that I also explain it, because some things can be done within the data source, and then result can be given to the app. It makes the app to run efficiently. So those ones are delegation. The app will delegate some things to the data source to do. So while you are using your app, there are some certain things you ask your app to do. Your app will delegate it to the data source, right? Now, there are some certain things that the app cannot delegate to the data source. So when you are building an app, you need to make sure, especially Power Apps, because of the limits within Power Apps, you need to make sure that you tiptoe around what is good for you and your app, so that you don't maybe if you use something that's non-delegable, for example, your app will have to bear the burden, and that is going to be very stressful for it. So eventually when we start building, we'll come to that. So do you want to enforce unique values? The unique values here is if you want to say, for example, phone number now shouldn't be true, or email shouldn't be true. So if you come to this email column and you turn this on, anytime anybody wants to enter an email that's already existing here, it will reject, right? So that's more column validation. See, we can actually put in more validation to know the kind of data that is coming in and all of that. So that is the data source for us. I think this is a good start. The next thing to do here is to build the app. So what I wanted to do today was for us to do this SharePoint, and then I had that issue, and I wanted to, jump over to Copilot because I have Copilot already set up. But it's good that Mr. Boyinga brought this idea so that we were able to introduce this. But our next class will go into Power Apps, or if you guys want, we can do Copilot, anyone that works. But then for our Power Apps training, this is the first layer, the most important layer, the data source. I consider it the most important layer because your data source kind of determines how swift your development process is going to be eventually. If things are not aligned properly here, it's kind of will be very difficult for you. And it is easy here because the data source we're using is very, very simple, and it's good because we need to learn easily. But then in the real world, you are going to see maybe you are dealing with different what's it called, linked SharePoint lists. You can link multiple SharePoint lists. This SharePoint list can link to another one, right? And another one will link to another one. It can be very confusing. So this is just a very simple form. And in Dataverse, Dataverse is like a madhouse. If you don't, understand it properly, it will be very confusing because of all the moving parts with it. So this is the simplest that you can get, and that's why I wanted us to start from this. Then for our next class, we'll start, building properly. And then eventually we'll be coming back here if there's anything we need to add, because I'm certain there's some things that I'm missing as well. So that is it from my end, guys. Sorry for the extra 15 minutes that I've already used.
Yeah, thank you
Right.
so much for listening.
Somebody have a question? Is this Coco? Go ahead, please.
Yes. Hi. Yes, I have a question. Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah.
I'm doing like a training with Microsoft, and I've run into an issue with this Power App. So I've gone through their video for creating a form and the views. So I created all those views in the form, but now I'm at the stage of updating the app. But the form, the columns I added in the previous step, when I'm trying to create a new log, if that is what it's called, the views I put in place, I can't see it, and I'm not sure why that is.
What kind of Power App are you building?
I think this is the model-driven app.
Model-driven app, it's different from what we are talking about. I think I will need to see it. I know what you're talking about because when you mention view, I know it's going to be model-driven app. And that's what we are building on now is Canvas app. It's all within Power Apps, but they are definitely different, right?
Okay.
So using views, I think it's easy. You just that, as I mentioned, anytime you talk about Dataverse, it has a lot of moving parts, right? So sometimes it might be confusing. So if you, I don't know, where are you? Are you in? I don't want to guess. Where are you?
I'm home.
No, I mean where your location is. So I'm looking at time.
Kelowna, BC.
Okay, BC. Oh, what's the time difference from Ontario and BC? I don't know.
It's like after 7 p.m. here.
Oh wow, this is after 10. So maybe we can find time. You can chat me up and we can find time to look at it for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other person? That means we understand everything that we did here today, because for some people SharePoint was new, so I don't want us to jump. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. That means we clearly understand what we're doing. Anyway, back to Mr. Wenga.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Very well.
I'm seeing some new faces here. I don't know them before. Please, can you introduce yourself? I see Taiwo Yusuf, I see Ora Efe, and I see Joe, and I see Dami.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, no.
It's Jonathan.
Let's meet you. We don't know you.
I'm Jonathan. I stay in Edmonton. I didn't join the class on time because I was actually engaged. As the class was on, I was hoping to ask if the recorded session has been prior to this one, and if we have, I'd like to know if I can get access to the
link. It's on our YouTube page. I will share the YouTube link, the YouTube channel with you. So I will upload the last one and this one on the YouTube now after this class.
Okay. Thank you very much. And as for introducing myself, I'm quite new in Canada.
Okay.
I'm trying to transition into the data space. And I'm hoping that, and I'm already seeing that there's a lot to learn, especially with the platforms. And having more deep dives, in the Microsoft ecosystem.
Okay. Thank you.
The community is very important.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I'd like to also appreciate you here. You've been very supportive. Your assistants were very invaluable towards my recent certification.
Okay.
It could have been very easy, but because of your assistance, it was quite easy. I'm very, very thankful. I'm very glad. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And congrats, you just gave birth recently.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, now you are Edison and Mr. Damola,
oh wow.
Fatherhood, this thing like this.
Congratulations.
You don't see him now. Thank you. Congrats too.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear from Ora Efe. I'm not pronouncing the name well. Are you there? Okay, let's go to Taiwo Yusuf.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Taiwo Yusuf. Yeah. Actually, I was introduced to Benga probably last week by Bayo Abikeri in Winnipeg. He's in Winnipeg.
Ah, okay. I remember. Yeah.
So, and like I said in the group that I really appreciate the opportunity given to join the wonderful group because transitioning to IT tech and stuff like that seriously needed a strong community that can back you and push you towards getting the rightful job and support during the job and stuff like that. Still hoping. I have not joined any, but still hoping. I've had a couple of training, BI, Power BI and stuff like that, but still hoping that one day I will hit the target. So I really appreciate the platform.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we have Dami.
Are you sure you want me to introduce myself?
Why you use that?
I don't know what's wrong with my. I think there's something wrong with my app, so I have to use the web.
So your teams they change your name to Dami.
That's the same problem I'm having. Especially whenever I'm setting this thing up, I usually find it difficult to connect via app. So I usually use web.
Okay, so this is what you would do. It's because of the Microsoft settings. So what you would do is that you open the app, you will copy the
link.
What do you call it? The meeting link. I mean the meeting is it number? What do we call it?
Meeting ID.
The meeting ID.
Oh, okay.
The meeting ID, then you copy the meeting password and what's it called? I mean, you can use the app to join directly.
Okay.
I'll find a way to bring that meeting ID. I'll pin it on the group chat so that everybody can be joining to the app.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, everyone. See you again next week, Sunday. Our Power BI class still continues, but we've changed the model for our Power BI class. So now it's going to be more of people bringing in their issues, and we try to help them solve it. Probably you're working on a project at your place of work. You can bring the project to the class. You can share your screen. We can help you, sort out one of the issues you are facing with it might be your modeling, it might be your DAX, anything. So that's the most. So you can you can tell us any topic you want us to discuss about. So it's going to be more of interactive sections now for the Power BI class. So the classes will still continue on Wednesdays, same time, 8 p.m. No more structured because we've been doing that class since October last year, and I won't lie to you, I'm already tired.
I don't know if I can say one or two few things.
Yes, I will share the OneDrive link with you so you can watch the videos at your own leisure, at your own free time. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
probably
no problem.
This platform that we are doing, if there's any video watch to quickly catch up with.
We've not done much. This will be our third class though. So it's a class that we don't know when we'll end it.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no need to rush anything. It's just steady.
On the Power BI, let me just say my problem is task. If there's probably the video that you're going to be sending, might probably have a couple of it, or if like you said, probably it's not going to be a structure. It's just going to be based on
people just bring in their issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you, everyone. See you on Wednesday. Thank you. Yeah, bye.
All right, good night.
Thank you, Edison. God bless you.
Yes.
Thank you.